Good morning, everybody. Our trade plan is pretty much the same as last night, so it should be pretty quick here. Let me just quickly go over it. So holding above 765, we're going to raise this a little bit. That was the gap level. So we gapped up, and now we have been running very one-directionally. So we're going to raise that level up to, let's say 800, the current value low. And then we're going to look for this value retrace going up to 856. And then what else do we have up here? We have a prior value level at 71. If we hold below 800, we are looking for that gap fill down to 65. And then our value high is 31. And we still have that P shape and balance because of that gap up. As long as they protect that value low, they should be okay to continue. For NASDAQ, I think we are okay. We use that 510 level, the higher level here, so it is okay for now. Looking for 700, which is that prior node. And then around 876, which is that value retrace on that high of Wednesday. Holding below 510, we're going to look for that gap fill down to 227. That would also be an overnight fade. And then down to 807, which is that prior value retrace. You could also look for the POC node as well. The trade plan range is extremely wide because the levels are very far away. There's not a lot of levels that are right next to where we are. These value retraces are quite wide. Okay, so far we have a ton of bullish delta coming in on the open. Not really seeing an overnight fade just yet. We'd have to see a lot of bearish delta trading below that opening range. All those 30-minute lows around like 810, 815. Trying to have a little bit of a range breakout to the upside here, holding above those 30-minute highs around 820. Keep an eye on those EMAs. You are a little bit extended off of that ADMA currently. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Scott, Patriot, Backpack, and Future. Lucio, Tachi, Morris, Marcel, JC, Lulu. Good morning, Banana, Lubomir, Roman, Nitro, Tamer, Greg, JC, Ordinary. Good morning, Keegan, Mauser, Brad, Julio. Good Nash, Vivian, Leo, AT. Here is the trade plan for you guys. Good morning, Stock, Jose, Igor, Trevor, 2013, Peter, Stuart, Angelo, Devil, Larry. Good morning, Orion, eBay, Michael. Good morning, Nerd, Gabriel, Victor, Gunk. Baja, appreciate you guys being here. Good morning, good morning. Happy Monday. We will be doing our Q&A for that volume profile video later today. Which, by the way, we're going to be pushing the Delta video out a week. I tried to make it this weekend, but I don't feel like I have enough examples right now. So I need to gather a lot more examples this week. And we should be okay to make that for next Wednesday. I don't want to rush these videos. I want these videos to be kind of like evergreen content that will always be valuable, right? We're going to do the Q&A today, but we're going to push out the Wednesday video for next Wednesday. This last one's really hard to make without like teaching it live. So the best way I can do that is gather as many examples as I can. Good morning, Darius, Denise, Greg, Faraj. Still pushing up here, holding on to that upper node. Upper node is being protected around 26. We're starting to retrace that upper tail of Thursday, which is pretty weak. There is a little bit of a node inside that tail, but it's mostly pretty weak. Which you can see ES has kind of already retraced it. Looking for around like 43. 43 to 56, couple of levels there. I think another week to digest that volume profile video is not the worst as well before we go into the order flow stuff. Very one-directional opens so far, damn near one time framing on the 1 minute chart, which is pretty hard to maintain. A lot of bullish delta coming in, protecting that P shape and balance, kind of turning a bit more into a trend profile on the open here, you have 4 major nodes and they're all moving one directionally. By the way, the website is finally updated. I'm going to put an announcement in Discord probably after the stream today for the Black Friday discount. Oh, sorry, that is, let me redo this. I put the wrong code in. That's my bad. The code is not Baru for the website. The code is Black Friday 2025. It's on a banner on the website. So if you go to the website, you'll see it right there. There you go. Sorry, put the actual code there. Well, yeah, all we're doing right now is we're extending the P shape. So I talked about in the volume profile video how you start out as a P shape, but then you try to extend the upper tail, and that's what's happening here. So you have that kind of P shape, and then we're pushing the extension of the upper tail. It's a little bit of a capital B because it has like 2 nodes, but that's not what a capital B looks like. A capital B has a node on the high and a node on the bottom. If there are 2 nodes like right next to each other, that's not really a capital B. Yeah, the shutdown should be ending this week. Alright, that should be good. It resets my volume sometimes. Those block trades come in really loud. You guys can't hear them. I have the sound turned off on stream. That's what those pop-ups on the bottom right are. Those are block trade alerts. It just gives me like a sound notification when they come in like that. If you guys want to set that up, I forget where that is. That is, I think it's on the tape. It's either on the tape or the block trade alert itself, the indicator. I wouldn't call this a vertical distribution. This is pretty strong to the upside, but if it does start pulling back to that 24 repeatedly, then we could say it's a bit of a vertical distribution. Still getting a lot of block trades up here. 1,100 contracts at 32. Keep an eye on VWAP. Keep an eye on that 24 coming up at 27. Couple of overlapping wicks up here. A little bit of sell pressure. Not too bad. So far, not seeing a ton of buy pressure on this 24. You're kind of pushing right through it. Keep an eye on that range before the open around like 20, the range high. 20 to 22. Losing that starts a bit of a value retrace. Trapped buyers, it's hard to tell because there's so many block trades on the high, so it's kind of skewing the delta. But if you consider the block trades, there are a little bit of trapped buyers above like 32. You're just kind of ignoring VWAP and the 24 here. See if it respects that range high around like 21. It's also where the value low is of the cash profile. You can tell the macro sellers, like the high time frame sellers, are not really getting anything here. Because you can see all the 5-minute lows, the range lows are being protected. And if you look at the 30-minute, you can see the same thing. You're just not really getting any obvious lower lows. It's hard to be a high time frame seller when they've been waiting on the government to reopen for quite a while now. And they're finally getting those headlines. They are protecting that value low for now. A lot of sellers on the large tape. The larger traders, over 100 contracts, mostly on the sell side. Definitely not getting what they want so far. If they can hold on to that value low, they're getting a little absorbed. You can see a lot of seller delta right there around like 25. Getting kind of stuck. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that, Stuart. I'm not sure what that is. You want music? Yeah, music, that's the idea with a P-shaped profile. As long as they protect that higher value, they are looking to extend the upper tail. So we just had that first, like, attempt to break down, and it pulled back, it hit that value low, and then it bounced right off of it. So far, they are doing their job. They are protecting that higher value. So right now, the tail extension would be, let me see. If you base it off the cash profile, it's about a 10-point move. Much larger move on the full session. Putting in a little bit of a lower high here. Possibly wants to build up that upper node a bit more. If you guys are just coming in, a couple things I mentioned earlier. Q&A for the volume profile video will be later today at the market close. And then we started our Black Friday sale on the website. So the first code is Black Friday 2025. It's all one word. That's going to be 40% off the entire site. And then the other code is for the annual Discord. So I usually always do a higher discount on the annual every year. So the discount for everything else is 40%. The annual is 50%. The code on the annual Discord is annual 2025. Once again, all one word. And those codes are on the website. So if you just take a look at the website, there's like a little banner there. I'll post a reminder in Discord for you guys that purchased the annual last year. You're going to be coming up on your renewal pretty soon. So if you do want to renew, make sure to put that new code in, or it's going to charge you full price. I'll post that reminder in Discord after the stream today. Yeah, there's a sign-in button at the top and the bottom of the website if you need to go into your account and put the new code in. If you guys have any trouble with it, just let me know. Let me know in Discord. I can help you out. One last thing is the Wednesday video, the last video in our series. We're going to postpone that 1 week. We're going to push that out to next Wednesday. I don't have enough examples to really finalize that video yet. Good morning, Adriana. I appreciate that, David. Yeah, it's a very small divergence between the two. You put a higher high in on NASDAQ, but you put in a lower high on ES. Just building up this upper node, which is not bad. It means they are accepting this higher value. Delta is much better on NASDAQ, already pushing into a new high. As long as they protect that value low, they are safe to go higher. They are obviously accepting the higher price. You just don't want to see like a lot of sweeps on the high or like absorption or something like that. But if it's just kind of back and forth price action like this, that's not bad. The buyers are doing their job holding it. Yeah, responsive buying, protecting VWAP, protecting the 24 EMA. 30-minute lows are not being broken. Damn near the 5-minute lows are not being broken as well. you're starting to enter that like pattern of the vertical distribution where the 30-minute candles come back down, but they don't really make it past like the halfway point, the half back of the prior candle. And then whatever sell pressure they have coming in on that candle, it just kind of gets absorbed and you go right back up. So these like yellow boxes, those are the halfway points of the candle. It says highest, but it's just because I'm using the highest indicator. That's actually the halfway point. So you can see like this is the halfway of that candle. We're not getting below it, and those sellers are kind of getting stuck. Very common with a vertical distribution, because basically what's happening is you're coming back down, you're retesting where those responsive buyers typically are. It's kind of that lower portion of the node, and then those buyers just hold it up, right? But as we talk about with a P-shaped profile, I talked about it on the video, it's not like overly bullish. It's not like the most bullish type of day. It's mostly because the sellers are weak, not because the buyers are insanely strong. So the aggressive side of those buyers, the ones who are breakout trading, they're still pretty weak. And that's why you have those pullbacks. Compare that to something like a bullish trend day, where you're just constantly pushing higher node, higher node, higher node, and you're holding above the ADMA. Kind of like what we're doing on the open for the first like 20 minutes. That's an overly bullish day, right? Capital P's are more so the sellers are weak. It's called a it's like shorts are closing, right? The short covering rally. It's not exactly the buyers are in full control. Johnson tells House members to begin returning to Washington for a potential vote to reopen the government. This has been the longest shutdown in history. I think it was like, what, 45 days or something like that? Somewhere in the 40s. Getting a little bit of absorption on the high. You can see a lot of bullish delta coming in, but they couldn't even break the high by a single tick there. Still seeing mostly sellers on the large tape, traders above 100 contracts. I think the market is kind of playing the waiting game here because the odds of the shutdown coming to an end are pretty damn high, but it's not like locked in yet. Speaker Johnson says he thinks he has the votes to pass the stopgap. Oh, is Trump speaking as well? Yeah, I didn't see. I'm getting into a bad habit of I'm not even checking the calendar anymore because of the shutdown. Because the calendar basically does not matter. Yeah, he's not on the calendar anyway for me, so I wouldn't see it. With the Syrian president, gotcha. Yeah, a lot of Fed talks Wednesday. Tuesday, basically nothing happening. It's a bank holiday. It's one of those weird times where it's a bank holiday, but it's not a market holiday. So the market is open tomorrow. It's probably just going to have low volume. But depending on how late they a lot of bearish delta coming in, by the way. Depending on how late they push that vote, tomorrow might actually be pretty active. But yeah, tomorrow is a bank holiday, so most often it's pretty low volume. This is actually a type of candle that I wanted to get a good example of. I wanted to get an example of a candle like this because these are like those D-shaped delta candles where one side of the candle has one side of the delta, like bullish or bearish, and the other side of the candle has the other side. So it's a very 50-50 candle. They try to go up, the delta gets stuck, goes back down. They try to go down, delta gets stuck, goes back up. Rinse and repeat, right? And thankfully I took a screenshot of that because now there's a bunch of block trades coming in. So it is breaking that candle a little bit. Bunch of block trades at 30, about 2,000 contracts. Good morning, C-Mac. Well, yeah, it's not just an HVN, it's the highest volume, right? It's the POC, so even worse. So many block trades today. I'm guessing a lot of traders trying to get their bets in or pull their trades away before the lockdown headlines start coming out. I should say shutdown. Lockdown reminds me of COVID. Yeah, Danimal, it should be later today, I believe. I don't know if they have a vote scheduled yet. You'd have to check if they have a vote scheduled. It sounds like it's going to be later today or tomorrow. He was already calling them back to Washington. This vertical distribution is turning more into a horizontal distribution, like a standard range, holding on to that 35 high repeatedly. Still showing that lack of sell pressure on those on the lower portion of the candle, right? So the buyers are still pretty strong. That halfway point for that last candle is around 24. You were not able to break that, so the halfback is being respected. And now we are pushing that high. Now all of this volume right here from like 25 to 32 is being protected. The buyers are protecting that node now. I wouldn't even focus on stuff like that. Ordinary, they've been talking about that for decades. That's one of those things where you believe it when it happens, right? You don't care about it other than that. It already is a single tick failure. Well, I don't think it's technically because I don't have my chart on a single tick. I think it's like technically... No, it is, yeah. It's a single tick failure. It doesn't have to go down any amount for it to be a single tick failure. The second it breaks by 1 tick and then goes below that level, that is a single tick failure. It's like asking about a sweep, right? It's like saying how far does a sweep have to go for it to be a sweep? It doesn't have to go anywhere. As long as it is sweeping that level, it is a sweep. It could go down a single tick and it's still a sweep. Well, clearly I don't JSB because I don't have it, right? I physically can't take into account the limit orders on the DOM because I don't have the data for it. I think that watching level 2 like liquidity and all that style of trading, it doesn't work for me. It's just distracting. I think it's not really providing any value. I think some people do it very well, but it doesn't provide value to me. Bit of a micro pullback candle in the 30-minute here. You had a very aggressive move up, then a top doji. We're waiting to see where that value builds below the low or above the high. Keep an eye on this 30-minute low. If they can build value below 25, then it's going back to VWAP at 18, possibly back to the open, which is around like 15 or 12. Keep an eye on VWAP. VWAP at 1850. Yeah, it says they're trying to get the bill passed today. So possibly later today. Good morning, Olive. Here comes that VWAP. VWAP at 818. You're on the daily VWAP on NASDAQ. Very far from the session VWAP. The liquidity today is not terrible. It's pretty normal. You're not seeing a lot of blue level 2 orders. I think it's mostly because the volume's not that high. The volume's like pretty normal. Yeah, liquidity's not bad. You're trading at like 40 to 50 contracts per tick. Some ticks have a lot of contracts, like over 100. Yeah, it's better than last week. Last week we had a few days where it was like really bad. You were getting a lot of level 2 orders. You're not really getting level 2 orders right now. Here's VWAP. VWAP at 18. Very bottom heavy candle here. A lot of bearish delta coming in right into VWAP. And you are breaking VWAP pretty easily now. Not seeing any reaction on VWAP. Just so much bearish delta pushing right through it, which means we're going back into the morning value, the overnight. So keep an eye on that node around like 803 if they lose this level basically exactly right here. So prior overnight node 803 and then the overnight low, which is 73. Here's VWAP on NASDAQ. So it looks like NASDAQ possibly leading here because ES is ignoring VWAP. Very aggressive, by the way, staying below the ADMA the entire time. I have no special settings on VWAP. I just have the daily and the session VWAP. I don't change settings on VWAP. There's a very large bullish delta imbalance coming into support right here from 804 to 807. The level 2 is the blue orders on the tape. Keep an eye on that session VWAP on NASDAQ. We have taken out the initial balance low, and that pattern has been fairly active recently. Almost every single day, we are only taking out one side of the initial balance. Don't see a ton of sell pressure below that session VWAP on NASDAQ just yet. Keep an eye on these single prints. You do have to break above that 80 MA. You're looking for around 811. Very aggressive here. You have not traded above that ADMA since like what, 10:30, 10:35? This is what we call a P-shaped failure, right? Where it tries to extend the upper tail extension fails, and then you start extending the lower tail, and you're squeezing out that lower tail. Very similar to an overnight fade, where the overnight was one directional, failed to find higher value. Now we're looking for that overnight low, right? Overnight low is 71. This also looks for the gap fill, which is it's around 65. Keep an eye on that. Testing that ADMA now. Keep an eye on those single prints going back to 811. Could be a bear flag and a VWAP if it does slowly push back into VWAP here. Single prints filled in, by the way. You have a little bit of a bear flag on the session VWAP on NASDAQ. The problem is it's not really offering you too much. Like, it's so close to that prior low that your target is, what, only 50 points, 40 points maybe? Which I guess is not terrible. Morning, Switero. Call the D low in exhaustion. Yeah, you could. Most tails are either exhaustion or absorption, where like they have either a ton of delta in that direction, but they got absorbed, or they just ran out of volume entirely. And this time they ran out of volume. You're not making it back to VWAP on ES. You're failing the 24 EMA here. Keep an eye out for a potential double bottom. We'll see if it finds a lot of buyer support, buy pressure around like 95, maybe like 97. Turning more into a capital B day, if they continue to build up this lower node, it's going to be very important to see who controls the middle of the day, which at this point kind of lines up with VWAP. So basically, if they retest VWAP and it sells immediately, then it's probably going to look for that gap into the afternoon. In gold, let me see, is gold going, I saw it was going back up a little bit. Let's see. I think I had my levels from last time. I believe they're still the same. So you had a 100% pullback there, right into that VWAP that we talked about. This VWAP would have to change to the top VWAP, which you are reclaiming. There's no real easy way to grab targets here. You'd have to go down to like a lower time frame. Pivot at 41.23. 42.50, 43.40. Yeah, you're basically just looking for lower time frame pivots. There's not really any easy way to grab upper targets unless you're going for the prior high. It's kind of like a cupping pattern. They are reclaiming the high VWAP, which is good. Still a potential double bottom. You have to see how it reacts to this low here at around like 95 to 97. It would end up looking like a bulldog if it was a double bottom, so we'll see if it has buyers down here. Keep an eye on that 30-minute close, closing in about 1 minute. If they are on that low of day, they will create a couple of single prints going back to like 802. Hey, Olive, appreciate that. Yeah, we're going to be doing the Q&A for the volume profile video today at close, so in about like 4.5 hours. Whatever market close time is for you guys. And then the Wednesday video is pushed back until next week. I need to gather up some more examples to finalize that video. And then that will be it. After that video, we do one more Q&A, and that series is finally over. We're going to be doing some giveaways at the Q&A today for you guys that show up. We're going to be doing Apex account giveaways. We'll probably do like one Discord giveaway as well. You can see a little bit of buyer delta coming in on that low. You do not have any single prints left open. The single prints are always against your positions, yeah. Yeah, we've been forming a lot of single prints recently. They're doing a fantastic job filling them in, though. Pretty much every single day, they are filling the single prints in by the close. I do both, Olive. So if you guys had questions on the video, you were supposed to put them in the comments of the volume profile video. And then if you can make it to the live stream, you could also just ask questions on the live stream as well. But all right, guys, speaking of that, we are going to call it here. I will be streaming at the close for the Q&A for the volume profile video. So if you guys have any questions regarding volume profile, market profile, anything we covered in that last video, be sure to stop by. We're going to be doing giveaways for some Apex accounts, Discord access as well. Which, by the way, I finally finished the website with the Discord, the promo code. So if you guys would like to get Discord or anything on the site for that matter, the code for Black Friday is Black Friday 2025, all one word, no spaces. It will give you 40% off anything on the site, including Discord, tutoring, everything. If you are a Discord annual member and you signed up last year, be sure to use the new annual code. It's annual 2025, also one word. And that will give you 50% off the annual. Basically, every year the code is only for a year, so you have to put in the new code. I'll post an announcement in Discord going over that. But yeah, annual is 50% off. Everything else is 40% off. But all right, guys, that's all I got. Hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe if you guys enjoy the content. Be sure to check out that Becoming an Apex Trader series. We just put out our volume profile video last week, and we're going to do the Q&A for that here in a couple of hours around the market close. That's all I got for you guys. I'll see you guys in a few hours. If you guys are in Discord, I will see you guys there. Peace, everybody.